All right, this is One Last Midnight. Welcome back to another episode of Valheim. In this episode, we're going to be looking at the Longhouse, a quintessential building in the Viking Age. The Longhouse was used for many things. Not only was it a meeting place for your tribe, but it was also used as a structure to house many families in one building. The Longhouse was used at feast days, celebrations, return from raids, all kinds of things. So making a Longhouse is very Viking of you. I started out the build by laying down 3 staircases. That was for the center of my house. That middle staircase is going to be where I'm going to put my door. And then a couple supports for the stairs, followed by 3 4-meter wood beams extending outward from the stairs, and that will be my porch area. And then 3 additional 4-meter wood beams on each side of the porch area to make a total of 9 4-meter wood beams widthwise. So that is going to be the width of the Longhouse. The length of the Longhouse is 22 4-meter wood beams long. And I spent a bunch of time laying out the wooden beams and then also making kind of a grid pattern so that I could level off the ground. This was pretty time consuming. It took a long time to be able to get the ground leveled out and my grid pattern down, but I had an overall structure when I was done for the foundation of the Longhouse. Now it was time for the flooring, and I had tried and experimented on a couple different things and ultimately didn't like them, and then finally decided on kind of a cross-hatch pattern, almost like a lattice work for my flooring, which actually turned out to be pretty cool. It just took a lot of work. Around the foundation of the house, I wound up putting down 2-meter wood beams so that I could have attachment points to be able to create this lattice pattern. And then I lay down each one of those wooden beams to be able to give me that lattice framework. This took a lot of time to do, but you know, the overall result looked really good before it started raining and it got all weathered. But you know, I was pretty satisfied with the floor when it was complete. For the front and back of the house, I really wanted a cool design. So I laid out those walls a little bit differently. I used the 45-degree crosshatch roofing as support beams, and then also laid in a couple 45 degrees, making this really neat design on the front and the back side of the house. I wind up mirroring both of those. That was kind of challenging to get those to lay out the way that I wanted, but I was extremely happy with the end result because the design came out pretty nice. Moving on to the rest of the supporting beams for the roof, it just took a little bit of work to get them up and get them placed out. Now, there is one thing to note here. If you're going to try to do this build, you have one of 2 choices. You can either make all of your supporting beams as core wood, or I chose to do the iron beams. So I'm in the Iron Age and I chose to support my wood beams with iron beams in order to make this structure a little bit stable. There's no way that you're going to be able to do this roofing structure unless you're putting down something that is sturdy, and it's either going to be the core wood or it's going to be the iron beams. You go ahead and make that choice. Like I said, you could do this with either or and it will turn out just fine. Once all the supporting beams for the roof are in place, then it's time to do the roofing. Now, I did decide, just for like an accent, to put down these cross beams in between the roofing joists because I just wanted it to look a little bit different than just having just straight thatching on there. So I put down, you know, not only these cross beams, but then I also put down some of the thatch roofing pretty much over the entire structure, except when I got to the middle piece, and then I wanted a place for the smoke to come out for my fire. And so I have an elevated roof piece in the middle of this building. So I just put up a couple more wooden beams and then put in those 45-degree angles to give me that little roof for that elevated area. and then laid more thatching down for that. Overall, the roof came out to be pretty nice, and I like how it looks, and it's going to be very effective to get rid of the smoke from my fires that are going to be inside of the longhouse. And finally, that leaves us with the walls. And so it's going to be a half slab, followed by a full slab, followed by a half slab, all the way around the building. And by the time that you do that, you should have a completed longhouse, minus the fires, minus any kind of decorations and that kind of stuff. So here's the final product. You know, the front of the house looks great. I love the woodwork that I was able to design on the front of the house. That elevated roof to let smoke out looks really cool. And then I added on a little like entryway for people to come in, you know, enter my house. You know, the inside of the house is kind of drab right now. There's really nothing on the inside of the house. There's no fires. There's no lights. But you kind of get the idea. I mean, the scale of it is pretty massive, right? It's a pretty big, long house. You're going to be able to put down everything that you possibly want inside of this house. The floor looks pretty sweet. I do like how the floor came out. I thought it looked pretty cool with this little design in the middle where all the floors meet together. And then again, you know, like I said, the outside is just looking really great. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll actually wind up decorating. So that's one of the things that I want to do is I want to show you guys how to decorate a house. And we'll go ahead and we'll put windows in this and we'll make this house look really pretty and actually make it look really epic just by adding in a bunch of decorations. I think also I probably want to do an entryway on both sides of the house. I do have a door over here already, or at least a place for a door, and I think I want to put one on the other side as well. And in that way, you should be able to get into the longhouse from 3 sides and shouldn't have to run around the house just to find an entrance. You know, as for the amount of wood that it's going to take for you to build this house, look, you're going to deforest the whole area. It takes a lot of wood, especially if you decide to do the floor the way that I did the floor. And if you decide to do the stylistic front end, those are just extra pieces that you really don't need. Matter of fact, there's a lot of extra pieces that you really don't need, like this outline on the roof. You don't need those extra pieces. You can really cut down the amount of wood that you do just by changing the flooring and changing some of the extra little decorations on the outside. By not having those, you'll probably save, you know, 300, 400 wood, if not more, because the floor, like I said, took an enormous amount of wood to do to get this design done. Well, that's it for me. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. I'd love to have you in the community. If you want to follow me on any of my social media, you can find the links in the description below, and make sure to hit that notification bell. That way you know when I go live and when I post new videos. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.